He said that some neighbors accepted, so maybe there's some sort of heter or something.
What?
So I'm just passing on the message, but I originally said it doesn't make sense, but I figured I'll ask anyway.
Somebody wants a Judah. What do you call? You read my cheat sheet on snow?
Yeah, I saw it.
Doesn't say no Sheena.
Right.
What about on grass?
No, grass can't. That's it's on the cheat sheet also.
Even Davar Shem is Kavod?
It's because it might be a psik ratio because it might automatically happen.
What time you want to learn tomorrow night? Shabbos over here. Your time 5:02, 6:02 here, 5:02 here.
Okay, so by the time we get rolling, you'll be able to load.
Okay.
Get on. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we ready? We have a minion on. All right.
We do, but we don't need it on Friday, but we do.
Friday, we don't need a minion. Is he recording? Yeah, he's recording. Okay, we left off by. So first of all, I mean, I don't know why I did it so fast yesterday. I should have done it slower. Right, I should have done it. I should have done it a little slower yesterday because there's a lot of stuff. All the Gemaras that we learned about how you call somebody to din and how you give them a siruv and all that stuff. That's all learned from this Gemara. These are the makaras from the Gemara. Also, a lot of hilchos lashon hara, because the Gemara says that the shliach bezdin is allowed to come back to the bezdin and say, hey, this guy doesn't want to come to din. And it's not lashon hara, right? So, but the question is, why should it be lashon hara? It's for tayelis, right? I mean, there's no bigger tayelis than a shliach bezdin coming back to bezdin and telling them this guy doesn't want to come.
How else do you want him to report back what he's
right?
to?
So what's the right? So what is the Gemara's havamina that he's allowed to, like? What's the chiddush, right? So of course I'm not remembering the teretz. What did the poskim say is the teretz? I don't remember. But there's that, and also there's another kasha they ask is balei Machlokes. You're allowed to say lashon hara and balei Machlokes, right? So why here are they not? But they were balei Machlokes, dasan and aveira, right? We're learning it all out from dasan and aveira. So they were balei Machlokes, right? Okay, so that was one hara from yesterday. The other hara is, it says here that bezdin can hit the guy and tie him up and do all these type of things. We do learn out from this that if bezdin needs to do these type of things, it's any bezdin could do this. Meaning even a bezdin in chutz la'aretz nowadays. Now I would hope no bezdin nowadays has the guts to do this, that they're holy enough to do this. But theoretically, this Gemara is saying that the bezdin has the wherewithal. It's not like they have to have a Sanhedrin to be Mechayev Misa and all that. It's the bezdin has the wherewithal to do all these type of things to people that don't listen and that are causing harm to Klal Yisrael. Okay, so let's just pick it up. We did Hardafa, right? I think Amalei Rav Huna, let's just start from there. Amalei Rav Huna Bar Chinna, it's around 20 lines, it's around a little bit more than halfway down on the wide lines on Tezayin Amud Aleph. It's the end of the line. Amalei Rav Huna Bar Chinna, Pachi Amar Rav Chisda. Yeah, a little bit more than halfway up. Okay, so I'll say it a little slow so that I can find it. So Amalei Rav Huna Bar Chinna, Pachi Amar Rav Chisda, Masrin be Sheni be Chamishi be Sheni. So somebody who's not listening to bezdin, so we warn them on a Monday, and then on a Thursday, right? Meaning we warn them on Monday, put them in cheirem. Warn them on Thursday, put them in cheirem, and then warn them again on Monday and put them in cheirem. Well, not in cheirem, but in nidui. And then if he doesn't listen, then we put him in the slammer, right? And that's the way Rashi and Tosfos both say it. Well, Tosfos brings cholkim exactly what this is. Either way. But the Gemara says, "Hani milu l'mamayna." That's all. If you're putting him to cheirem for financial issues, aval la apikursa, but la alter. But if it's for apikursus, which Rashi says is yimavaza talmidu chachamim, then that goes right away. You don't do any of these warnings on Monday, Thursday, Monday. Yeah. So we'll see a story. Yeah. Who tafla the ispaka b'Rav Tuvi bar Masna. So there was a sheikhet, or a butcher who was mafker Rav Toivi bar Masna, meaning he did not speak to him with Kavod. Him no Abai of a Rava. So Abai and a Rava were literally means they were counted on him, meaning they were the ones that were made in charge of figuring out what to do with this butcher. Shamsu, and then they put him in cheirem. The Saif Azal Paisel about the but then he went and he asked Mechila. He went and asked Mechila. So Rabbi Heichilevitz, and now what should we do? Lishrilei, should we get him out? Should we allow him to be out of the nidui? Loichal Shamta letlas in Yomi. He hasn't been in cheirem for 30 days. And obviously they're learning that it's a minimum, cheirem is minimum 30 days. If we're not going to let him out of it, Kavod rabanim the rabanim need to come buy their meat from him. So he's necessary. So what are you going to do? So I'm gonna he's a, what do they call him in Corona, these type of workers? Essential worker. A butcher is an essential worker. Thank you, right? So how can we not let him out of the cheirem? So so did you hear anything about this then? This is interesting. Tut asar, but tut shari. The toot of the shofar, right? We say toot toot toot. I mean that's this Gemara, right? That's the makar that a shofar you say toot, right? You toot the horn. This is it. Yeah. What do you call this? Adamatopia, right? So the word. So that's what this is. So the shofar asers him and the shofar matters him. So basically what he's saying, that you don't have to have a minimum 30 days for cheirem. Whenever you want to get him out of the cheirem, you can get him out of the cheirem. So he said to him, "Hani mili money." That's by financial reasons. But if he's in cheirem because he refuses to go to Bezdin, etc., then you can let him out right away. Avel he said no, but for being a vasa to chachamim, he needs to be in cheirem for 30 days. What are you saying?
This is the guy that's a butcher that didn't want to listen to Bezdin and they want to buy meat from him?
Yes. No,
that's not setting up any red flags?
He did not want to listen to Bezdin. No, he was chutzpahdik to a Rav, that's all.
But they put him in cheirem, and yet you want to go buy your meat from him.
Naftali, if you look in Hilchos Shulchan Aruch about how we believe people, you wouldn't believe your ears, okay? You can buy meat from a guy, as long as he's not a Machal Shabbos. The guy can do kol minei davar aser. If he eats kosher food, he's trusted by the meat. That's the din. That is the din. I'm just telling you that. That's.
I'm just listening. Yeah. I was waiting for.
You're asking a good question, but the halacha is the halacha. Anyway,
I just figured if Aaron was on, he would have gone crazy by now.
Good. So you're representing him. You're a good Talmud. Yeah. So Amud kasavar abaya hani beit lasa tishmisu. So we see from Abai that if there's 3 people that put somebody in cheirem, meaning a bezdin of 3, you're not allowed to have 3 other people come and be matir him, right? Meaning you need the original bezdin to be matir him, which we're going to see later is not everybody agrees to that. The boiluhu, because they had a shaila.
But he gets up after 30 days anyway?
I think they have to reevaluate to let him out. They have to reevaluate. So
he's never going to go out unless you find that original bezdin. He's never going to go out?
So that's what we're going to see later on. What happens if somebody dies, right? What happens if one of the dayanim dies, right? I don't know if we're going to see that tomorrow. Today's stuff. I don't know.
That's today. It's today.
It's today. Okay. It's all
in 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. It all gels together in one big. Yeah. The bailu hani beit plus the shmisu that these 3 people that make a cheirem ma'ula mesi plus achrini b'sharolei, can 3 others come and be matir the cheirem? So tashema menudul rav menudul talmud. If somebody is in nidui for the Rav, then he can't go near the Talmud either. Right? Meaning it seems like there's highly personalized niduis. Right? You can be in cheirem from one person and not from another, etc., etc. So menudul Rav is menudul Talmud. Menudul Talmud ain't a menudul Rav. If somebody is menudul for the Talmud, is not menudul to Rav. Menudul iroi, menudul eracheres. If somebody is menudul in his city, so he's menudul to another city too. But if he's in nidui from in another city, then in his own city he's not. Right? Fine. Menuda nasi. If he's a menuda for the nasi, meaning he started up with the nasi, then he's a menuda to call all of Klal Yisrael. Because if he's in nidui for the leaders, and then he's for sure in nidui for everybody else. Menuda l'chol Yisrael ain't a menuda nasi. If he's a menuda for Klal Yisrael, then he is not menuda for the nasi. Right? But so here it is. Right. So if one of the talmidim goes into cheirem, makes a cheirem, and then he dies, so then chelka and mufar, his chelek of the putting the person in nidui can't be removed. Mufar means to be removed. So shma mina tlas. So we see from this three different halachas. Shma mina Talmud shenida lechvaydoi nidui of nidui. If a Talmud puts somebody in cheirem for his own kavod, his nidui is a nidui. B'shma mina kol echad ve'echad mefer chelka. Each and every person has to be made for his portion, meaning if there's three people in the bezin, each one has to be the one to let the let the cheirem go. These three people that are in cheirem, like also plus achrini v'sharle, you can't have three others do it. It has to be original three. Somewhere on Meimar hilchus hani b'nei tlasa d'shmisu also beit tlasa achrini v'sharle. Right then, so Meimar is disagreeing, and he says no. Right. That if you have three people put somebody into cheirem, three others can come and be matir it, right? But it can't just be stam three others. It has to be three others that are at least as chashuv as the original three, if not more chashuv. But we learned in the Bride of Shimon Gamliel Aimer, didn't we say a brisa that if one of Talmidim makes somebody a nidui and he dies, his chelik is not mufar. My love, any mufar klal doesn't mean that he's not. You can't take back his cheirem at all. Loi means adasu beit lasa achrini v'sharle. No, he's only in cheirem until you find three other people to let him out. Fine. So Torah Rabbanan ain't nidui pachas milamid yom. Nidui is not less than 30 days. Vein nazifa pachas mizayin yom, and nazifa is not less than 7 days. Now nazifa really means like musar, right? When they say that you're not supposed to talk during davening, if somebody's talking during chazaras hashatz, right? So you mashasikim ben nazifa, right? You don't tell him to stop talking. Right? Meaning you tell him to like nazifa. So that's what this is. So it seems like it should be worse. Meaning it's not nidui. It's not nidui. Nazifa is something like musa, right? So okay, so we'll see what that is. What's it called in when one of the senators or what do you call it misbehaves? What do they call censor? Right? I don't know exactly what that ever meant, but you censor somebody, right? Not censor like sense, but with a C, like they're not allowed to talk. Like so even though there's no proof to it, this is if her father, right? So Hashem said to Moshe, right? If her father was going to spit in her face, wouldn't she be upset or embarrassed for 7 days? Right? This is talking about Miriam after saying the Lashon Hara. So what do you see? That there's something for 7 days. If somebody's embarrassed, they go away for 7 days. So Rav Chisda nidui shalanu. Rav Chisda said, the people in Avel, their nidui is k'nazifa shalahen, is like the nazifa of Eretz Yisrael. Nazifa did who shiva, and their nazifa is for 7 days. Right. So in Avel it was stronger. So sulai. So we say that nazifa is only 7 days. Now the Gemara is going to bring a long story here. The kasha is we're not going to get to the end of the kasha until a well down Amud base. The Suloi, Reb Shimon bar Rebbi, bar Kafra, Reb Shimon bar Rebbi and bar Kafra have a yasvi b'kagarsi. They were sitting and learning. Kasha lushmait. So they had a kasha on a Gemara. Amal Reb Shimon bar Kafra. So Reb Shimon said to bar Kapra, davar zet tzarich Rebbi. This one needs Rebbi, meaning his father. Amalek Kapar Reb Shimon. So Reb said to Shimon, "My Rebbe, Amr B'Davar said, what could Rebbe say with this?" Rashi says, "There's no answer. This, but it was sort of like a slight at Rebbe. He's saying, what can Rebbe possibly say?" He went and he told his father, "This is what Bar Kapara said." So Ikbid, Rebbe was makbid. He was upset that Bar Kapara said it. So also Bar Kapara l'sazuyile. Bar Kapara came to see him. Amr le Bar Kapara, "Eini makir chamei olam." He said, "Bar Kapara, I don't recognize you." Right? Meaning he didn't want to see him. So Yada did not get Milsi to Daite. So Bar Kapara realized that Rebbe literally means he took it in his das, which means that he was upset. So he made himself into nazifa. He made himself to be, he locked himself up for 30 days as a musar for being chutzpah, to having chutzpah towards Rebbe. Now, so we see right there that nazifa is 30 days, not 7 days. Fine. Shuv pam echad goes the Rebbe shalei yishana l'talmidim b'shuv. So Rebbe made a gezer that you shouldn't teach talmidim in the street. My darash, what did he darshan? Chamuke, right? The pasuk in Shira Shirim. Chamuke yirechaya k'moy chaloyim. Your thighs are hidden. No, yeah, right, and they're like k'moy chaloyim. They're like what do you call it? Jewelry.
What's
right?
wrong with teaching Torah in public in the streets?
So he's what?
What's wrong with teaching Torah in the streets?
So that's let's see on Amud Beis what exactly they say. But he's saying you're not supposed to teach in the public, and we learn it out from this pasuk of your thighs are hidden and they're like jewels. Ma yerech b'seiser, just like a thigh is b'seiser, which is maybe a bakar that you have to cover your thighs. After divrei b'seiser, so divrei is also b'seiser, right? So Yotza, that's one story. Then Yotza Rebbi Chia, then Rebbi Chia went out and he taught his two nephews, Bnei Echav, the sons of his brother, in the shuk, the Rav Bar Chana, to Rav Bar Chana. Shama Rebbi Ikbid, Rebbi heard, and he was makbid that. Rebbi said, don't teach in the public. And now he was going, and he did. So also Rebbi Chia came to see Rebbi. Amrale Aya, which is some sort of a negative. Who's calling you outside? Which is sort of like he's saying, there's somebody waiting for you outside, meaning like get out of here. Yada did not come milsa b'daite, so he understood that Rebbe was upset. So he was knowing nizivusa for 30 days. So on day 30, Rebbe sent to Reb Chia to ask him to come. Ta hadar. I'm sorry, shalach le ta. He said, please come. Hadar shalach le to loylesi. But then he said, don't come. So he sent two messages. One, he said, come. Second message was, don't come. May kar my savar, my savar. What was Rebbe thinking in the beginning? What was he thinking in the end? May kar savar miktasayim kakula. He thought that, part of the 30th day is enough. And once he was in Nazifa for part of the 30th day, so then that's the whole day. And then he told that it's not, and you have to wait the whole 30th day. So l'saif us at the end, Reb Chia came. Amalei Amai says, why'd you come? Amalei the shalach limar, the lazy my master sent that I should come. So he says, Vashachi loch the loitesi, I sent that you shouldn't come. Amalei zeloi reisi v'zeloi reisi. I'm sorry, zera isi v'zeloi reisi. This one I saw, this I didn't see. Meaning I met the first messenger, I didn't meet the second messenger. So Kari alei, so Rebbe called on him, B'rtzais Hashem darkei ish, gam oivav yashlim itay. When Hashem is happy with a person, then even his enemies are going to make shalom with him. Meaning Hashem obviously, Rebbe saying Hashem obviously wanted you to meet the first messenger, not the second messenger. He wanted you to come here to make peace. Okay, so my time of Aven Marhachi. Why did he do it? Why did he teach in the rabbin? So I'm related to Siv Chachma is bachutz Taraina. You should teach Chachma outside with song. Amrlei, so Rebbe said to him, Karisa lo shanisa. If you read it once, you didn't read it a second time. If shanisa lo shilashta. If you read it 2 times, you didn't read it a 3rd time. If shilashta lo pirshula. And if you did read it 3 times, somebody didn't explain to you pshat in that pasuk. Chachma bachutz tarayna kiderava. What it means that the chachma bachutz is like what Rabba said. If whoever learns Torah in the inside, his Torah will end up being publicized, right? But then let's finish the whole Gemara. But he said, I didn't speak in hidden, right? That's talking about by Har Sinai. It was not hidden. The whole world heard the Torah by Har Sinai, right? The whole world heard about Kabbalah Torah. When answers, I hope Yami Dekala. No, when it's a public time to speak, like Yami Dekala is like Yarche Kala, right? Yarche Kala means it's a time everybody comes to learn. So then Torah could be learned in public. Other times it's not. Reb Chia, right? Hi, Chamuki Yerechayv, my over. What about Reb Chia? What does he do? Chamuki Yerechayv, which means it makes it sound like Torah should be hidden. Mukila b'tzedakah gemilas chasadim. He means that's by tzedakah gemilas chasadim, but by Torah it has to be hidden. Whatever it is, Alma Nazifa did two Tlas and Yomi. From both these stories, you see the Nazifa was 30 days, not 7 days. So when answers Nazifa's nasi shani, rebbi was the nasi. So then when you tick off the nasi, then you gotta wait 30 days. For everybody else, it's 7 days. Right? When Nazifa didon kamahavi, and how much is our Nazifa? So Chad Yoima, it's 1 day. Ki had the Shmuel or Mar Ukva, it's like Shmuel or Mar Ukva. Fine. So now, what's wrong with learning Torah b'Rabbim? Right? That's David. That's what you're asking. So he had said today, Rabbi Razner, the Rabbi Yashiv, he had said to Rabbi Yashiv, had said that back then they tried to keep the Amaratzim away from the Talmidei Chacham. They didn't want to. They wanted to sort of show the Amaratzim like either you come learn in our Bismerish or you're not part of us. Right? That seemed to have been the way they wanted it. So they didn't want Torah to be learned in public. So I'm wondering about myself posting halachas that go out on WhatsApp and then they go out on websites and it goes from one chat to the next chat to the next chat. Isn't that Torah b'Rabbim? I don't know.
You're not referring to your snow halachas that went out.
No, but I would say no. But let's say the tweets where it gets into people's hands who don't know you, they don't know what's going on, they don't. You're saying it to them, they don't understand them.
Yeah. So sometimes they don't understand them, and sometimes, and it's damits, but that's Torah b'Rabbim. So I don't know.
The Amaratzim that they're referring to. Is that the same type of people that we have now?
No, that's true. We don't have a Maratzim now. But the bottom line is, it doesn't say.
Jacob, we had that once when you put out the Zoom information on the Twitter and it was hacked. Remember that? That could fall on that thing.
Yeah, that's because it went out on Twitter.
Right.
So, and then they said an interesting thing. Not him, the other guy that I listened to, the fellow from Lakewood, talked about how back then they used to send mail postcards. So the Avnei Nezer said, I think he said it from the Avnei Nezer, that you should not send a postcard with Torah on it, because that's like putting Torah out there in the streets, because anybody could read it. Right? He had said Epis Chumrah like that. According to that, you certainly can't put it out on the internet. Right?
I mean, it's reaching a lot more hands on the internet than if you sent the postcard.
Correct.
Most people don't even know what a postcard is anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But
postcards are the stuff I send with my kids to camp that they come home with them.
Right. That's true. It's true. But anyways, okay. So it's an interesting din. Fine. Kihava, what do we have? 10 minutes, 12 minutes? Okay, fine. Let's do a little more. Kihava Yasvi. So when they would sit and learn Torah, Garsi Shmaitza. I'm saying have a Yasvi Garsi Shmaitza. We'll sit and learn Torah. Have a Yasa Mar Ukva Kamei the Shmuel Barichuk Dalanam. So Mar Ukva would sit in front of Shmuel 4 amas away. Right? Shmuel was more chashuv, so you don't want to sit within 4 amas. Right? There's a din like that, right? A kid is really not supposed to daven within 4 amas of his rebbi, of his father, and a Talmud's not supposed to daven within 4 amas of a rebbi. You don't want to show that you're on the same level, right?
That's social distancing.
It's social yes, that's the original social distancing. Very good.
It's Kavod.
Right? Very good, right. That's social, it's social, and okay, the Welt is not makbid on this anymore. Fine. But Havayasvi Bedina, and when they were sitting in din and they were judging, Havayasvi Shmuel Kamed Mar Ukva Barichut Dalanam. Shmuel would sit in front of Mar Ukva 4 amas, right? Because Mar Ukva was the reish bezdin. So it's an interesting thing here. You see that just because the gadol there's a bigger rav doesn't mean that he's the reish of the bezdin. The reish of the bezdin would be somebody else who maybe knows the practical whatever more than the more chashuv. So in Bismerish, Mar Ukva sat 4 amas away from Shmuel, and in the din, Shmuel sat in front of Mar Ukva 4 amas. And what they did is they dug a hole for Mar Ukva, the tzipsa, and they put a mat over it, and he sat on top of the mat. That he should hear. Right? So meaning you don't want to sit too far away so you couldn't hear. So they sort of dug a hole so he could sit in there. He'll be away from 4 hours and he'll be able to hear. Okay. And every day Mar Ukva would walk with Shmuel back to his hotel. Yom Echad, Itrid Bedine. One day, Mar Ukva was busy with the court case, right? And he wasn't thinking. And Hava Azul Shmuel Basrei, and Shmuel was actually walking behind him. So Kimatul Beise, when they got to Mar Ukva's house, Amar Lei, Loi Nagalach, is it not enough that you're going behind me? Rashi says, literally Mar Betigra. Let me out of this tigra, out of this fight. So Yoda did not get milsa. So Mar Ukva realized that Shmuel was a little bit upset that Mar Ukva was walking in front of Shmuel. It's not proper kavod for the rebbi to walk behind the Talmud. So so he made nizifus on himself for one day, right? So you see that their nizifus was one day. Hahi itza, the hava yasu b'shvila. So there was a woman who was sitting in the street. Have a pashta kara. She was sticking out her leg, become a nife chushlay, and she was doing something with the barley. And then it was a young Talmud chacham walking by, and she wasn't, and she didn't move her leg. Amar kama chatzifa he yitza. How much chutzpah does she have? So Asayla kamed Rav Nachman. They came in front of Rav Nachman. Amar Allah, meaning I'm sorry, she came in front of Rav Nachman. She was a and just go do this.
Yaakov, you're freezing. You're freezing up, Yaakov. Yaakov, you're freezing.
Huh?
You're freezing up a little bit.
Let me see. Now is it good?
Yes.
All right. Let me know if it's fine. Zutra Batuvia. Should I go back, or was it totally unclear? It was okay. Zutra Batuvia have a kapasik.
It was for 30 seconds, 10 seconds.
All right, fine. Okay, so Zutra.
Station identification.
Kapasik Sidra, commander of the Rebbe Yehuda. Yeah. So Zutra Batuvia was so came over in front of Rebbe Yehuda. Sounds like there are first words. What were the first words? So he was quiet and he didn't tell him anything because he didn't know the answer. So when he asked the question again, so my daita, what's your daita?
You're out again.
I mean, why do you keep? I don't know the answer. Why do you? Yoda,
Yaakov, no good.
Yeah, no, you have to go back. You got to go back, Rabbi. Rabbi, you got to go back. You froze.
Stop.
Rabbi, you froze.
No good.
I'm texting him.
Good time to stop for Naftali so you can get there on time.
Maybe I'm doing something. I davened mincha already.
Jack will come back in. Where is he? Naftali, he's not home for Shabbos? Where's he?
He's home. He's got to be home. The yard site's, yeah, he's home.
Oh.
I think the yard site's tomorrow night. Oh, he's back now, I think.
I don't see him.
It would be okay if we stop now.
Can anybody hear me now?
We just heard something.
Hello?
Jack, we hear you a little bit.
Yeah.
It's choppy.
Hold on. Let me shut off the Wi-Fi. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yes.
We hear you.
Okay,
We
fine.
don't see you, but we don't see you, but we hear you.
You don't see me?
No.
No.
Turn on your
Is your video
camera.
We
on?
know you got a haircut, so we know we're good.
Okay, so let me. Where
We
should I
see
go
you
back?
now. We're good.
All right, so Amalei. Okay, I don't know where I blanked out. So
Neither do we.
great. So
Amalei Mishamata or something. No Mishamat.
okay, so with the Asan Allah Mia, now that we're there with this pasuk, what does it mean? What does this pasuk mean? Achrayim mechlal dika rishonim maihi. Says that these were David's last words. So what were his first words? So it says Vayidaber David Lashem es divrei ashira azais b'yom hitzel Lashem asay mekaf kol oyav mekaf shol. So David spoke and he said a shira when he was saved from Shol. Right? Amalei Kadosh Baruch Hu David. David shira ata imer al nepalas Shol. You're saying praise because Shol went down. El Mali ata Shol v'hu David. Maybe you were Shol, and if I would switch the two, right? If I would switch the two, you could have been Shol and he could have been David. Ibadi kama David in front of. I could have destroyed many Davids in front of him. And he said, "Don't be so happy about it." Elama kushti mishtuna ba'irei. Right? So, I'm sorry. Did I just jump the line? Yeah, I thought I jumped the line. Hainu d'siv shigayon l'David asher shor l'Hashem al divri kush beni mini. It's a shigayon, right? So it's which is it's like type of a musical instrument. So it's a shigayon l'David that it was a mistake. That when David sang this song, it was a mistake. So then Gemara says, "V'chi kush shemai v'alei shol shemai." Why is it calling him Kush? It's really his name was Shol. Elama kushi mishuna ba'irei, just like a kushi, somebody who's black has different skin. Shol mishuna b'maisav. Shol was mishuna b'maisav, and he was such a tzaddik. So Miriam and Aaron were talking about the kushis that Moshe took. V'chi kushis shema. Moshe's name was not, his wife's name wasn't Kushis, it was Tzipora. Elama Kushis Meshuna Ba'ira, Af Tzipora Meshuna B'maseh. So the same thing. A Kushis has got different skin, and Miriam also was different in her maisim.
Tzipora.
I'm sorry, Tzipora, what did I say?
Miriam.
What did I say? Miriam, I'm sorry, yeah. Right, not Tzipora. Miriam is a sister. Yishma Eved Melech HaKushi, and the Melech, the Eved of the Kushi heard v'chi kushi shmai v'aloi tzidkiya shmai. His name wasn't Kushi. His name was Tzidkiya. Elama Kushi mishuna ba'irei, just like Kushi. His different skin of Tzidkiya mishuna b'maisav. So Tzidkiya also was mishuna b'maisav. So he was all tzaddikim compared to Kushi, right? And kiyaytze b'davar atayim, and I like kivnei Kushiyim atem li beis Yisrael. You're like Kushiyim. Klal Yisrael is like Kushiyim. V'chi Kushiyim shman. With the Klal Yisrael name Kushi, v'aloi Yisrael shman. The name is Yisrael. Elama Kushi mishuna ba'irei. Just like a kushi has different skin, if you saw mishuna b'masein, we call umas, they're different in their maisim from all umas. So then one more line. Amar Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Reb Yonasan, Maid chsiv neum David ben Yishai neum hagever hukam al. What is this David ben Yishai? We have to say that right before Kabbalah Shabbos. We have to at least say these words, David ben Yishai, right? And hagever hukam al. That's the words of the man who was hukam al. What does it mean? Num David ben Yishai shehikim aveilus shel tshuva, that he stood up with the best of tshuva, meaning David HaMelech did a major tshuva from his whole story with Bathsheba, right? So that's what it means. That's what it means with David. Okay, I guess we have to stop. What time is it? We have to stop here. Fine. Okay.
Yeah, so Yaakov, very interesting. We're in Morristown, New Jersey, in this house.
Yeah.
Owned by some Lubavitcher lady who rents it out.
Yeah, that big house.
Yeah. So they have one. What do you call it? One matzeva in middle of the yard, like what we had a few days ago on the block.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Mom is right there. My kids walked right on top of it, not even copping.
Interesting.
It was covered in snow.
I
Just like
hear.
that, one single grave, just like that, in the middle of the yard.
Interesting.
Could only happen the week of the daf.
Right?
That's right.
Literally.
Well, honestly, how you discovered it?
The kids were walking there, playing outside. There's like a trail back there, and they're playing outside. And they walked on top of it, and it's covered in snow.
Interesting.
Don't worry now. They're all worried now if they're tummy. They told them they're tummy anyways.
Right, I hear that. Yeah,
Mamish,
yeah.
what
All right.
we had a few days ago, no?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
it's a Yiddish grave. The lady's name on the thing is Rosenhaus.
And it's just a random grave.
A random grave that they buried in the backyard.
I don't know who it is. Who's there?
Wow, that's crazy.
Over the house.
Oh, good Shabbos, everyone.
All right, good job.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Aaron,
crazy.
I'm letting Aaron. I had a guy come to return my lease. His name was Jose Rosenberg.
Whoopi Goldberg, parents. You forgot.
No. A guy says his name is Jose. Jose. I said, oh, Jose, I got Yankee tickets for this weekend. He was about to charge me $3,000 for a new paint job. Says, oh, thank you, no problem, no issues with the thing. I said, oh,
he must have been a Yid. He's going to charge you $3,000.
Yeah. No, then he says, yeah, my name is Rosenberg. I'm like, oh, I just gave the guy tickets.
I know.
He said his father was Jewish. I said, good for you.
Right. Hey, his mother's probably not Jewish.
Yeah, the mother wasn't Jewish.
Unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Usually the Jewish names are not Jewish.
No, but
Non-Jewish.
this is a Yiddish house, Yaakov. They kept it in the family for like 100 years.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right. Good job,
All right, everybody.
All right, good job.
Shabbat shalom.
Parents, I heard you took
Oh, Rabbi, you there still?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mincha tomorrow. You need my son.
If Tully's busy, huh?
Yeah. If he can't, he can't. It's fine. He doesn't have to come
I'll
in
ask him. I forgot to ask him.
No, if he's going out anyways, yeah. Not now. We'll figure it out.
I'll let you know.
We have
Okay.
enough. We
You
have
got
enough.
Punja there.
We don't need him.
No, you got Punja there, no?
Yeah.
What's that? Parents, you making a minion tomorrow?
Yes, Hashem.
What time?
Not for people who don't join on a regular basis.
What? Oh, now that you don't need me. Whoa.
Before 10.
What?
Not before 10.
Not before 10 Baruch or not before 10 starting?
You're asking too many questions.
Okay.
10:28 is feeling.
10:20 is Mansfield. Okay, thank you very much.
There you go. All right.
Have a good Shabbos. Bye-bye.
All right, good Shabbos.
How do I end this? Close. End.